What's happening everyone, we're back today with another video on the white ST. Today we're going to be showing you how to adjust adjustable anti-roll bar drop links for the front. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so those of you who have been watching the channel for a while knows that the car obviously had some white line drop links from when we did the subframe conversion. As you can see, these look a bit past their sell by date now. Obviously last week, as you know, we did the suspension mounts, like reinforcement plates. Fortunately it didn't work out too well. I'll put a photo up now showing what happened. The standard top mount requires the actual centerpiece in the middle, and it ended up shooting through. So I had some coilovers on the side, which are some Meister R's, so they've been fitted. I never intended on filming fitting them, so it was never filmed, so I'm sorry. So with these obviously, and with changing parts, these are too long for the Meister R's, so we can't use these. So I've got another set here that actually have different sizes of body, as you can see, which allow us to make the drop link either longer or shorter to whatever we require. So now that that boring part's out of the way, we're going to show you obviously what you now need to do to get the car ready. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the car obviously jacked up and put on platforms on all four wheels, and for once it's actually empty in the back because you want the car somewhat unladen. Obviously you can't get everything out without taking too much time, but it should be good enough for what we want to do today, and in the future if it needs readjustment then I'll make sure the car's fully empty, but the worst of it's out. As you can see, there is no drop links actually fitted to the car at the moment, just because they were too long. They were actually fighting against the steering, making the car drive really horrible, so I just took them off and went without. Okay, so you can see there is a gap here between the actual subframe, which is a little 13mm bolt by the drive shaft, and the roll bar. What you need to do, Ford's recommendations, is to have a 40mm gap between these 2 points. So what we're going to do, we have a bit of box section which is cut up and is the perfect size. It's literally 40mm on a dot all the way around. What we have done is we've just put it in between this gap and made sure that we see a 40mm gap between the two. And then what we want to do when fitting the drop links is obviously get the drop link into the shock up there and into the roll bar here with no stress, because as you know, sometimes you've got to pull down on the drop link to get it in, or even lever the roll bar upwards to actually get it in. But you literally want both threads to just slot in with no movement at all on both sides. This will then leave the roll bar with no tension and will actually allow it to do its job when driving. But when doing this, you need obviously the weight mimicking the driver of the vehicle inside the car. So if you don't have a friend, then be sure to just put some sandbags in the seat or anything like that, so it can mimic you sitting in the driver's seat. Okay, so I just thought I'd show you. We have our little bit of box section here. You want to place it between the subframe and the roll bar. I know the drive shaft's a bit in the way, however you can see it's between the roll bar and the actual subframe itself. As you can see, it's a perfect 40mm gap, so that's what we used. So yeah, hopefully that will give you a better idea of what you need to do. So when you're doing this, just try not to move the roll bar as such, because obviously you want the clearance to be correct. Okay, so with your drop links, I'll leave a link in the description for these. They will come with these little spacers. These are for if you have M12 holes on your roll bar and your shock. We do not, so we can discard these right now. How to adjust these is you crack the nut off either side, and you can see there's a slot out for a spanner, and they're on an actual reverse thread. So Once you get the link actually installed, then what you'll do is you'll crack both the nuts off and turn the actual body with a small 15mm spanner, and it will allow you to actually move the link up and down, getting it to the desired length that you require. So I'm going to jump in the vehicle. Luckily we have Dan here with us today, so Dan's going to lay under the car unfortunately and mess around with these a little bit. But what we'll do is we'll get a base height set, so when he does do this on camera, it's not constantly messing around and wondering what on earth is going on. So we'll just get this sorted, and then in the next clip you'll see us actually installing these. Okay, so we now have a drop link with a rough measurement and equal threads. So all we're going to do now is just pull the wheel off so we can bolt the drop link into the shock itself. It's just a bit easier that way, a bit more room. So yeah, we're just going to get this wheel quickly off and then do that. Okay, so now the wheel's off, we're just going to put the drop link in place. And then the bracket for the ABS sensor over the top. Okay, and then we're going to get a spanner behind the drop link to lock off the nut and tighten her up by hand with a ratchet. Okay, that's nice and tight. As you can see, you can swivel the drop link round. Okay, so now the wheel's on, we will get to adjusting once we've loaded the car. Once we've fitted the top half of the drop link, I then sit in the car, which you'll see the body drop down in a minute. Then Dan gets underneath the car and starts adjusting the drop link. We grease the threads so he's able to turn the body of the drop link, which gives him an even adjustment with even threads on either end of each ball joint. The idea of this is to obviously get the bottom half of the drop link to move freely through the roll bar with no stress or having to pull or manipulate it in the slightest. As you can see, once he gets the adjustment spot on, the drop link will literally just flow in and out with no trouble whatsoever. Once he has done this, he then tightens the drop link up and then locks off the bottom, which leaves me to take the wheel back off and lock the top off. He also just double checks that the 40mm gap between the subframe and the roll bar is still present, because obviously we want the clearance to be still within Ford specifications.
Oh, she's tight.
You can, it's not a problem. Okay, so as you saw, Dan locked off the bottom drop link and adjusted it as it should be. So I'm now just going to pull this wheel off camera and just lock off the top side. Oh no, I actually got it. Sweet, should do. Oh no.
She is in. Make sure that quarter mil gap still there. No, the gap's still there. Yeah.
Okay, so as you can see now, the car is back on the ground under its own weight with no blocks underneath the wheels. We adjusted the other drop link as you saw, and obviously locked off the adjusters. So that is pretty much a video on how to adjust and set up your adjustable drop links. I want to say a big thank you to Alex Bohm, because he told me the correct way to do this, because there are multiple ways of doing this. Some people set one to the standard length and then adjust the other side. However, that still does put preload on the actual roll bar itself, and doing it this way, there is no preload on the roll bar and it will let it work when it is required. So big shout out to him. I'll leave his socials here. Be sure to follow him on YouTube, Facebook and Instagram. He's got a little Fiesta Cup car, if you haven't guessed already. Wicked little car. So yeah, be sure to check him out. And I just want to say a big thank you to Dan for helping me today as well, so be sure to follow him on Instagram here as well. Anyway guys, that's all for today's video. If you did like the video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe and share it with your friends. And if you really enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button. Really does help. Want to motivate us to make some more videos. Anyway, that's all for today, and I'll catch you in the next one.